think it was a big hit.
Yes, indeed. That's fantastic. Amadine, could you please confirm for us, the report we played erroneously showed Wike also doing something similar. Could you confirm if that is the same occasion, if that was the same event, please?
No, the report you played earlier was when Wike distributed palliatives, still under the renewed Hope Youth Initiative. He distributed vehicles, provided support to youth within the FCT. Remember that youths had always been complaining that they are just in the city center. They see a lot of development. There are no jobs. They don't have, there's no connection between them and the administration. So what the FCT minister did was that after commissioning a series of programs, a series of projects, what he did was that for the last day, he gathered youth, bought vehicles because they are trying to scrap private vehicles, trying to stop them from engaging in transportation services because many have attributed it to the one chance syndrome and saying criminal syndicates like the one chance are taking advantage of it. So what the FCT administration has begun to do, they buy vehicles, distribute to the youth and tell them use it for transportation. They allocate them to certain areas within the FCT and say, we don't want to see private operators but we are going to provide vehicles, let the youth use it. And the vehicles were provided as grants. They were brand new vehicles. There's no repayment period back. It was just provided by the FCT administration for them to start life in a way of reducing unemployment and at the same time tackling insecurity.
Okay. Judith has a math question for you. But before she asks that math question, I wanted to know what it was like seeing the FCT minister doing something that is, well, counter to what he's known to do. In recent times, you're laughing, Judith, but this is true. In recent times, he's been known to take from people. He says that these are people who got these properties or whatever it is unscrupulously, but this time he's giving back. So what did that mean for the people? Did people see him in a new light? Did people congratulate him? Or were people happy that this was what
was there shock for seeing him in a different light? That was the question.
Was there shock?
Part out loud.
Was there shock?
Judith, if you are on ground within the FCT, I'm telling you, his perception on ground is different from the perception that is on social media, which is being peddled by several people.
Wow.
On ground, he's called Mr. Project. So when you follow social media, you think he's one villain that everybody is against. But in reality, while I don't want to judge his actions, one thing I know is that the FCT minister has always come out to say there should be law and order, because it seems Abuja is only for the rich. They allocated plots of land, they don't pay ground rent, they don't pay taxes, and they just live their lives as if there is no tomorrow. And so you see another class of society just sitting down, looking at the rich and powerful within the FCT and saying these ones are above the law. But now there is a minister who has come up to say, I'm going to take on these guys. They should pay their due to the federal government. Now, how legitimate or not, I'm not in a position to tell. But I want to tell you that many people, especially the poor, and if we say there's a middle class, they are excited about the action he's taking. You come to the rural communities, the satellite communities that have been abandoned, the area councils that there is no federal project. He's bringing projects to these people. So for me, who is on ground, I will tell you that his perception on social media is different from what people on ground see it as. For the first time, the FCT administration set up a youth secretariat, appointed a youth mandate secretary, which is like a youth commissioner, set up a women's secretariat, appointed a women mandate secretary, which is like a women commissioner. So you see, he has initiated these moves, which the residents, especially the original inhabitants, who feel that they have been marginalized. For the first time, they have a permanent a head of service of the FCT Civil Service Commission. It has never happened before. So I will tell you that sometimes just take a step back, sit down, relax, and try to remove, just don't judge based on what you are seeing on social media. Speak to people on ground and get the true perception of how people see him. Yes, nobody can be good to all people, but it's really the rich and powerful who have power to influence social media and pay influencers that are really against the actions of the FCT. But for those in the rural communities, at least I stay in a satellite community, come and call Nyesom Wike, and I'll tell you that everybody here is commending him.
Well, good for him. You know, that's the most important thing is that people adore him, and you know his constituents want what he's doing. So good for him. Well, and also he has to be concerned. You know what I mean? Because if your digital footprint gives a different perception of what people think about you in real life, you want to have a rethink. You know what I mean?
I beg to differ. I beg to differ.
Digital footprint is important to us, you know.
Very true, Judith.
You know, I mean, digital footprint is important. You have to think about, you know, if people think in a certain, I'm just saying, anyway, away from that, all right? Humor me for a second, imagine, help me, like, do this math, because I'm trying to solve this math in my head. Forgive my brain. So 200,000 naira for 250 elderly would come to, say, about 50 million. And we have 1.9 billion already spent on this Renewed Hope initiative by the First Lady. So it begs to ask the question, if you take out 50 million from 1.9 billion, we're left with about, let me see, about...
It's still in billions.
There's still billions, about 80 billion thereabout, just languishing somewhere. Where did the rest go?
Like I said, if you heard me clearly, I said that we only covered the distribution in the FCT, which is the first phase. There's still going to be a second and third phase, but from the information I gathered, that distribution happened across the country in several states. I know it happened. I'm sure I saw in the news of the distribution exercise that also happened in Lagos. And then also, I said, apart from the 200,000 naira bags of rice were being distributed. It's not just 250 people benefiting across the country. It's 250 benefited under the first phase in the FCT. The same event is undergoing simultaneously across the 36 states of the Federation. And then there's going to be a second phase. And then apart from the 200,000, other palliative support were also added for them.
Well, Amadi, we must say thank you so much for just taking out the time to... although this time, sounding like as if we are one of those people inside the parliament. Amadi, who is the head of our New Central's Abuja Bureau. I want to say thank you so much for taking out the time this morning to join us, Amadi. Once again, many thanks.
Thank you, Amadi.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Manzino.
Very interesting math.
Yeah, I want to be a recipient of Renewed Hope.
You're not elderly. Oh, unless you're not 21 anymore. Yeah, but I would like to say that that's a...
Renewed Hope Youth Initiative. How about that?
But there is that, and that was what we talked about with Wike. Wike has also...
Is he not your uncle?
I was going to say,
thank you. Him and ask him to put me
Uncle, listen to her. But I want to say that Abuja is such a place where if you have no one, you will die.
What?
It sounds grim. But
it is grim.
It's a very tough place to live. So to see these kinds of initiatives, especially for the elderly, for the youth, people with hope, giving people hope that you can survive in such a very, very tough place to live. Housing is not easy. Most people go to Abuja not because they have family there, but because they have to migrate there because they want to work and perhaps maybe earn money. So it's good to see that they are still being thought of. They're still being, okay, let's help these communities of people who need our help and who need these monies or who need these kinds of occupations to keep a living. And if the FCT minister, my uncle, has to rid Abuja of certain kinds of people to be able to allow other people live comfortably, especially, like the ones that Ahmadine has just noted, then I say it's all fair and good. You see, I knew he was onto something. That's why I called him my uncle from the very beginning. My uncle is doing good. Well, he's doing good.
I mean, there are laudable efforts, both from the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, and the First Lady
the First Lady herself.
We must say well done. And it's a much-needed reprieve in a time as this, with the austerity measures that you supported by the president. Anyway, that's enough for today.
Whoa, we're
gonna take a short break. We're gonna bring you the news. Okay?
Look, we apologize.
We apologize. He's Magneto, and I'm just Xavier. Like, I'm just confusion. Okay,
I'll explain.
Who is this guy?
Let's do a quick break. When we get back, we'll be bringing you the news and then our Christmas special here on Breakfast Extra.
And if you're single, get ready for your pajamas because we're having a pajama party later on inside the 9 o'clock hour. Don't go anywhere.